Do you think like you're from traditional finance and now you're into what we people like to call the future of finance? Like, do you think that we can gamify investing as well? Do you think in the future, because now it's kind of like I have to do it because I want to preserve my wealth or I want to grow my wealth. But could it be fun, do you think, one day? Is that a bit too far-fetched or?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, we have to look at investing in general, like that model's kind of changing. And when I do talk to a VC like Dan Moorhead or Richard Muirhead, I say, isn't VC kind of Web 2.0? And I asked Danny Kulichev about this from Aave, and he said, well, VC is kind of who wins? The VC holders, the equity holders, the founders win, but the users don't win. So VC, almost by definition, doesn't get it, and Web 3.0 is that everybody's involved in it, and so everyone has, early stage tokens. Everybody's the user. There's all these value-added pieces, whether you're a gamer or not. So I think that's changing finance. I also think people need to push themselves into something that they've been told their whole life they're not supposed to be good at. And again, Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he said he raised his hand when he was 8 years old and said in class, when are we going to learn about money? And they said, no, we don't teach money. He said, but you teach me Spanish and math and science and biology, but we don't talk about money, we don't teach you. So our whole education system is designed to implicitly tell you the smart people manage your money. Your pension fund, we'll manage it. So I think honestly, we just need a real relationship with our money. And that's what owning Bitcoin is, or even financing Ethereum on Aave. It's you, for the first time in your life, actually having a relationship with your money. Whereas before, the bank held it, you were told implicitly or subconsciously you're not smart enough for it. So I see my daughter, she's 17 now, she owns an asset for the first time in her life. She owns some Ethereum. I think now she's starting to have a relationship with money. Whereas when you and I grew up, the only asset we would ever own is maybe a house. When we got old, we usually worked for a paycheck. Again, Kiyosaki says poor people work for money, rich people make money work for them. It's a whole paradigm shift. And I think crypto actually gets people thinking about asset ownership.
Exactly. Don't you think like DeFi it really falls into what Robert Kiyosaki is saying in Rich Dad Poor Dad? Because there's so many passive incomes that you can build up your wealth so that eventually, do you remember the quadrant? Of course you do, right?
Yeah,
where passive income pays for all your debt and liabilities. And you don't have to actually touch your wealth eventually, right?
Yeah, and just his point so people know, most people work for a paycheck. And so you're conditioned every month to get this thing that you need, and you can't see much beyond that. So you do whatever you have to do to get that paycheck. Wealthy people see it a different way. They see, well, I own assets and I make money work for me. So as soon as you can own an asset, which used to mean owning real estate, maybe owning a company, maybe buying gold, now you can own a token, you can own a coin, and it's already getting you in that mindset of I own assets, my money works for me. And I think it gets us out of this trap that we've all gotten into in this capitalist system, and that's why I love the crypto space, because it forces you to be on the right side of that quadrant, whereas most people would have to buy a house or own a business, and that's a harder jump for people. So it's bumpy right now. When my students get into DeFi, they're like, what's going on? And I'm a little scared, and you have to own your own security, but I think it's the way forward. I've got two sons, they're 4 and 5 years old, and they walk into London Real Studios, and we got a typewriter mounted on the wall. And my son Caden said, what's that? And I said, it's a typewriter. We used to type on pieces of paper and give messages. And he's like, well, why? And I think these young men later will ask us, what's a bank? Why did you use banks? Why was there somebody with this big, expensive office that you pay for, trying to control your money and not giving you access to it? I think they'll look at it like the horse and buggy. I think it'll be something of the past.